Towards the end of the 19th century, in an abandoned and forgotten village, a gloomy mansion rose like a dark silhouette against the sky. The mansion was known as cursed due to tragic events that occurred years ago. According to legends, the last family that lived here mysteriously disappeared. Since that day, no one dared to step into this house. Young researcher Emily set out to uncover the truth behind these legends. Emily had studied history and archaeology, and uncovering the dark secrets of the past was her greatest passion. She was equipped with an old map, a few history books, and a diary from her grandmother recounting the events that took place in the village. Emily's grandmother had been born and raised in this village and was the last person to try to solve the mansion's mystery. Following in her grandmother's footsteps had become a personal mission for Emily. As she approached the mansion, dark clouds covered the sky, and the howling wind echoed in her ears. When Emily pushed open the old wooden door and stepped inside, the cold and damp air of the mansion greeted her. The creaking of the floorboards and the old, faded portraits hanging on the walls reminded her of the ghosts of the past. Emily carefully examined every corner mentioned in her grandmother's diaries. Before going to the mansion, Emily visited an old woman living in the village, Madame Hilda. Madame Hilda had been born and raised in the village and had heard many stories about the mansion. When Emily entered the small and modest cottage where the woman lived, she noticed the old photographs and antique items hanging on the walls. Hilda's eyes misted over as she recounted the stories from the old days.
This mansion was once the most beautiful place in the village. But that dreadful night changed everything. The family's youngest daughter suddenly disappeared one night. Then the family went to the mansion to search for her, but they never returned. Since that night, the mansion has been cursed. Nothing has been the same since.
Emily listened carefully to Hilda's accounts and remembered her grandmother's diary mentioning these events. Hilda gave Emily a key to unlock a room holding the mansion's darkest secrets. As Emily wandered through the mansion, she felt hidden secrets in every corner. In an old room, she stood in front of a fallen, broken mirror. The fragments reflected strange images that seemed like portals to another world. As Emily bent to uncover the secret behind the mirror, the room's door slammed shut, and deep silence fell, filled with fear. Emily was alone in the dark room. Suddenly, a misty figure emerged from the mirror. It was the ghost of the young girl who disappeared years ago. As soon as Emily saw the ghost, she felt its pain and fear. The ghost wanted to show her the truth behind the mansion's curse. The ghost led Emily to a hidden room deep within the mansion. This room was where the family spent their last moments before they disappeared. The walls bore traces of a dark ritual. The family had performed a spell to combat evil, but it backfired. The mansion became a haven for evil. Under the ghost's guidance, Emily gathered the necessary information to break the curse. However, time was running out. The mansion's dark forces had sensed her presence and were after her. Emily reached the old chapel where the ritual was performed. In the darkest corner of the mansion, in the center of the chapel, she found an ancient book powerful enough to break the curse. As soon as she opened the book, the words of old spells filled the room. Emily began reading the spell needed to break the curse. However, the dark forces were trying to stop her. Shadows flew around, and whispers tried to break her courage. During her research in the mansion, Emily discovered hidden passages and rooms mentioned in her grandmother's diary. These passages held the secrets of the dark forces roaming the mansion. Emily found old documents and spell books in these passages. These documents detailed the family's failed ritual to break the curse. One day, Emily discovered a hidden room in the mansion's basement. This room was the ritual room used by the family on their last night. The walls were covered with dark symbols and spells written in ancient languages. Emily worked for hours to decipher these spells and finally learned the spell needed to break the curse. When Emily gathered all the necessary information to break the curse, she knew her time was running out. The dark forces of the mansion had sensed her presence and were after her. Emily reached the old chapel in the darkest corner of the mansion where the ritual was performed. In the center of the chapel, she found an ancient book powerful enough to break the curse. As soon as she opened the book, the words of old spells filled the room. Emily began reading the spell needed to break the curse. However, the dark forces were trying to stop her. Shadows flew around, and whispers tried to break her courage. When she uttered the final words, the chapel lit up, and the dark forces dispersed. The curse was broken, and the mansion was cleansed. As Emily walked out of the mansion, she left behind souls at peace. The gloomy mansion, along with the dark memories of the past, was now buried in silence. As Emily closed the door of the mansion for the last time, she left behind the dark secrets of an era. However, this experience would always remain vivid in her mind. Even though the townspeople knew the mansion was now safe, they still preferred to stay away from it at night, because some secrets are never completely forgotten. After breaking the curse of the mansion, Emily returned to the village and told Madame Hilda what had happened. Hilda was moved to tears when she heard of Emily's accomplishments. "Your grandmother would be proud," she said. "Thanks to you, our village has finally found peace." After this experience, Emily completely changed her life. After solving the mystery of the mansion, she decided to investigate other cursed places and forgotten secrets. She traveled around the world for her new projects and alleviated people's fears wherever she went. Emily was no longer just a researcher but had become a light in the darkness.